This is a full moon reading for July 2018. The full moon was in Capricorn, June 28th. On the top, I have one spread, which I'm going to call the could be spread. This is the energies that the universe has laid out for you. This is where to aim. This is what is totally within your reach of potential. The bottom spread is what you experience on a mental perspective. This is what issues will be facing you on a more physical level. So the top is more energetical, and the bottom is physical. It's mental, and it's more of the illusion that we living in a physical world. But the energies which are invisible are laid out at the top. So let's start at the bottom. The moon card represents the idea that you've been dreaming on something. You've been wishing upon a star, and you can see the tower already fell quite some time ago. When it fell, when tragedy strikes, when something unexpected just collapses, expected or unexpected, it leaves us in this state of shock, in darkness, in melancholy, and we start questioning ourselves and what's the point, right? But the moon sheds light on the situation. It reflects the sunlight back to us so we can see, so we can get our bearings, so we can start thinking in moonlight, in darkness, and we can think with a different tact, with a different brush, and we could start again in a whole different environment, one that was foreign to us and one that's not natural for us. It kind of breaks the old mold, but nonetheless there's all that new information, and you can see the woman using her feminine energy to gaze at the orbits of the planets. Carl Jung believed the planets are the gods of the subconscious. They are like the sum total knowledge of everything, and they represent timing of meaning and archetypes. So there's lessons and patterns that we absorb when we're in dream state, when we're listening to the moon, when we're quiet. And this usually happens after our towers fall. When something gets, taken from us, or we get kicked out of a group, or we go through a divorce or get fired from a job, those things, they seem bad on one level, but they're not. It's an illusion that they're necessarily bad. There is no good or bad. And to understand this bottom row, I want you to walk with me. You have two cup cards, the Knave of Cups and the Queen of Cups. So they're connected, as are the Five of Pentacles and the Ten of Swords. So the cup cards represent not only feminine energy, but also kind of a known. The Queen of Cups is in control of her emotions. She's really wise at using her instincts, and those instincts are able to be relied on. They're a certainty to her. That experience, that wisdom, that comfort level that allows her to access her instincts and be plugged into the universe um, they provide her the ability to create. So the symbol of something giving being given birth. It could be an idea. It's represented by this flower growing out of a cup, with a halo around it, and the conditions are right so that she can create. Whereas the Knave of Cups is only kind of dreaming about that. She's relaxing in milk, in this pure thought where she can start to lay out the plans. Now let's compare those two to the Five of Pentacles and Ten of Swords. If the cups here represent more of a certainty, a controlled energy, the pentacles and the sword are more of a unexpected, uncertain, uncontrolled energy. So I want, although the pentacles are feminine and the swords are masculine, when I look at these, they're the same. They're working in tandem here as sort of a masculine energy, because the Five of Pentacles and the Ten of Swords evoke a reaction, and they're kind of like crisis or depressive states. Whereas the cups are both more of a relaxed, more of a reflective state. And the last card is the Two of Wands. That's from the bottom of the deck, and that tells me the theme of this energy. This is really what's happening here. This is the prevailing energy, which is saying the two is very, very important. There's these two girls. They're kind of like-minded. They're joined at the torso. So they're in union, and they're wearing different colors. They have slightly different styles. One's more formal, perhaps. And they're looking up. They're not only looking at the Two of Wands, which is creation through unity, but they're also looking up to the Five of Pentacles in reverse. And the Five of Pentacles in reverse is saying that at one time that card was right side up, and that would represent a loss of faith, a despair. So somewhere recently you felt despair, you felt disappointment, and like there was no hope. But this card is here in reverse saying that phase has ended, and now you have faith in your trajectory. And the two girls in the Two of Wands are looking up at that, and they're very hopeful, and they have the faces of people who are going to create and who are going to endure. They're not going to be disappointed by small failures. Their dreams are too strong, because they were dreaming in the Moon card. They have already experienced the pattern, and that's what the bottom row is. The alternation of the cups, pentacles, cups, swords represents the cyclical pattern of things. The two are actually one, just like the two girls. They're sewn together, kind of like a symbol of Siamese twins. They're joined together, and when obstacles or problems come, they can't help but keep working together. Their goal is going to be met because their interests are combined, and they're content that way because they understand that the sense of loss in the Five of Pentacles upright at the bottom, it's It's the opposite of the Five of Pentacles in reverse at the top. In our physical world, we will experience loss. And what do we do when we get the loss? Do we cry in despair? Do we give up? Do we let all the pentacles, all of our wealth, drain out with our tears into the ocean? And do we develop calluses and thorns to signal to everyone not to come near us? Because that Five of Pentacles doubled will be the Ten of Swords. And that's when all hell breaks loose. At that point, everything's like ready to just end. And that's sort of the natural trajectory of the Five of Pentacles, is turning into the Ten of Swords. But the good news is here, these two cards are working together, and they are all about perception. It's only perception. And the reason I know that is because there's a giant eye in the center of each of them. And the outlook of the person is very important. Compared to the other two, the Knave of Cups and the Queen of Cups, they're the opposite outlook. They're enjoying harmony and control and creation. But the two energies, the control and the lack of control, the certainty and the uncertainty, this is what makes dreams come true. That sounds corny, but the song Sweet Dreams Are Made of This, that's what it's talking about, is that these two energies create the experience, the wisdom, the fortitude, and the insight that's necessary to join with another person. And it doesn't have to be a person. It could be an entity, energy, an idea. But two entities are combining to one to create something more than the Two of Wands. Because the two girls are looking up past the Two of Wands. And if you could see the Three of Wands at the top, that's kind of the next stage. That's when you know the rubber hits the cement. That's when things start rolling out. The Two of Wands is you made the decision to overcome some things and to roll up your sleeves. And the Three of Wands is where you start seeing the wheels start turning and your plan start really coming into manifestation. And that's where the beginning stages of your whatever it is that you are wishing for at the beginning, that's what's going to take off. The Star card at the top is in reverse as well. That star that you are wishing upon is in reverse. It's on hold. It's telling you something's not yet right. You have to learn some lesson at the bottom, what we just discussed. And when you do, that taxi that's waiting, which is the Knight of Pentacles, there's that offer. The universe is ready to offer you a pentacle. It's some form of material wealth. And it can be physical, it could be even emotional, even love or friendship. Something that will, in reality, give you a very real sense of usefulness, of purpose, and something that you will use in order to make this happen. But what's in your way is the Seven of Wands in reverse. This is saying, in order for you to turn this card right side up like it should be, you need persistence. This is the key to everything here. It seems that you've given up persistence. You've kind of like lost your target. You can't really track right now because of the lesson that down below that we talked about, using the two different energies to create and to develop this this strong commitment to yourself and to identifying what it is that's going to make you happy and what you're willing to do for it underneath the layers of old patterns, old habits, learned habits, things that we've taken on through institutions or media, things that aren't you. You know, we've learned these things that tell us do it yourself and don't ask for help and you know, make money, show, be flashy, and be right, and never apologize, show no fear. All of these things are the things that you have to really resolve and get it together, literally. Bring all the different energies together, which is basically the certain energies which we're all familiar with, things that we can see, things that are proven, and the patterns are obvious, and the uncertain energies. And when you do that, the Seven of Wands will right itself, and you're going to vibe in the vibration of persistence, of getting that wheel turning, that cyclical energy that people just feel it, and they'll help you, and they'll, without saying a word, they'll understand that you're going somewhere, and they won't know it, they won't cognitively feel it in their brain, but it'll be that strong that the Six of Pentacles will take place. And that's that cycle of giving and receiving. But there's a trick here. This reading's giving me, it's kind of like a riddle. If you look closely, there's a tear in the blue blanket of one of the poppers, and it's revealing that he's wearing red inside, and that's the same red as the belt of the wealthy man. So that's saying they're of the same stripe. Red kind of represents the kind of like the mortal, the physical, the lower kind of maybe even sketchy, passionate things that we experience, versus the higher things that we strive for, like helping people, you know, and being able to give and being able to think higher. So at one time, this wealthy person was not wealthy. So he comes from a different life that the pauper on the right is now in. But we don't really know what's going on here. We don't know the motives of the people. It's very ambiguous. Things are not what they appear, but still the cycle is happening. So you may not know people's motives. You may, I mean, it's impossible. We're all human. We all have these things that we're striving for, and sometimes we don't know that we're striving for them. You know, we don't know that we're not familiar with the energy in us kind of directing our lives. But this is saying that's okay. It doesn't matter. Things will not be what they appear, but take part in that cycle and you'll be all right, because it doesn't matter if it's a quote unquote good energy or bad energy, a welcomed energy or a unwelcomed energy. What's important is using whatever comes your way and 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 graduating to the Three of Wands, which is where all of this ends up, at the Three of Wands. That's what really matters. The only thing in your way is you. At the Five of Pentacles, that evokes this idea that sometimes we give up there. We try, we set the foundation, we have this plan and it doesn't work, doesn't seem worth it, and we start crying and we want to erase it all. We just want to forget it all. But that's a particularly human thing to do, because let's take, for example, a bear foraging for food. And if that bear gives up, gets depressed, and starts thinking, what's the point? Why bother? He won't survive. Or she. That bear does not have that luxury. And maybe thank goodness for the bear that they don't have, ostensibly, they don't have the imagination, this gift of what we have, of creativity and high volatility, emotional bonding. All of these potentials in us, they go the other way too, and they stop us. They make us turn things upside down, and they make us hurt people, and they make us hurt ourselves. And this tension between the cup energy, and the uncertain energy, this tension is sort of the yin yang that makes things turn. And once you bring them together and form the Two of Wands with your partner, with your friend, with your employees, whatever's been bothering you, whatever's been just poking at you, you can get rid of that, and you could communicate to that person that we want to be on this page. And it doesn't really involve words. It involves bringing in those two energies with everything you have, all the full spectrum of ideas, experiences, pains, pleasures. All of those things can be formed for your advantage in some way. This is the will to power. This is how animals and plants and planets, this is how they move. But humans develop this other thing, but it's half-baked. We're not really there yet to be able to harness these energies. So we're kind of stuck sometimes, and sometimes I feel like a catch-22. Should I stay or should I go? If I stay, there will be trouble. If I go, there will be double. And that's how it should be. That's what this reading is saying. This reading is saying, yeah, obviously, get it together, literally put it together, sew it together. Don't stay in your comfortable zone. Don't stay in that lane. Time to move lanes. Move all the lanes, Exhaust all your options. Use all your brain. Use your heart. Your heart is what is truly your brain. Your heart is that giant antenna. And when we get depressed, when we get scared, when we feel we have to apologize or suffer some perceived indignity or embarrassment, humiliation, that's all in the brain. That's all learned. That's all a value that's exterior to ourselves. Because ourselves, we want to get to whatever that goal is. So there's a line between us and that goal. And this reading says anything that's not part of that line doesn't matter. It's an illusion. I have two things that came to me, two very important things. They're related. One is that time lies. This is the idea that, let's say there's two business partners, and they argument gets out of hand. So for 40 years, they're operating on this low level mistrust. They're both resentful of each other. Business suffers. All the customers are unhappy. They keep lowering their prices. Divorce, all kinds of problems, right? Finally, they talk, and all these things get revealed. So for all that time, one physical truth is, yeah, both people were hurt. They hated each other. They're both bad in each other's eyes. But the real truth is that that shouldn't have happened. There was some resolution, most likely, that can happen 40 years ago, and they didn't have to live 40 years of a lie, because we all have that potential to bring these things together. That's kind of the magic that we each have, to bring those things together for our good and the good of the people that we love. But it requires not listening to the outside, to rules, because rules have to keep changing. And if we just wholesale listen to rules, or archetypes or personality, these things in us that solidify, that will really hinder our heart from making these distinctions between what is your goal, what's on your true agenda, or on society's, the sheep, this exterior agenda, in which values comfort and familiarity, and the expected. So it's kind of like we have to live in both worlds. In we have to get by not really offending people too much, keeping connections alive, and attaining our goal. I mean, that's the priority. Before you die, attain your goals. Learn, make things meaningful. Unpeel things. And that's related to the second thing. So the first thing was time lies, and the second thing is rules lie. So as we're indoctrinated by things from very young age, we start taking on rules and customs and traditions, and a lot of them are very good. But we also kind of lose ourselves sometimes in the process, and we kind of fracture out, because there's so much pressure to go this other way, and we don't know any better. And hopefully by sometime in midlife, you make your way back, and hopefully we'll learn this earlier and earlier in our evolution. But you make your way back, and then you look back and you say, wow, I shouldn't have followed those rules. There's no point in feeling regret, because that's the only path that we had our disposal. But in that sense, rules lie. So let's take one more look: the Queen of Cups and the Knave of Cups. Just like I said, Five of Pentacles, like 2 5s equal a 10. So in a sense, the Five of Pentacles is half of a 10 of Swords with the number symbol. It's going that way. It's like, that's the natural path. That's halfway there, if you will. And by the same token, the Knave of Cups is about half of the Queen of Cups. She's halfway to being a queen. She doesn't have the crown yet. She has the flowers around her head, and she's kind of dreaming of being a queen. She's ready to be honest, but she's not there yet. She has to grow into that. But she's more than ready for that. And she's using the moon energy to do it. I do my tarot through music. I receive symbols and music, and I try to bring it into to the reading. Sometimes I get it a little before, sometimes a little after the moon reading. Um, and this time, two songs came to me. One is "Sweet Dreams Are Made of This," and the other one was "Dream On." I listen to those songs. I think the songs are more important than my words here. Um, Usually they just complement the tarot reading, but if this resonated with you, give those songs a listen if you can, and with the reading in mind. I think you might get a lot more out of this. And there's a few other songs that I'll list, and all the songs will have a link below in the description box. And below the links, I'll also add, for those of you who are curious, why or what I think, what my take is on those songs in connection to this reading. But it's probably best you look for your own symbols and find how how the songs resonate with your life, and I think that will be good enough for most people. Well, it's been a pleasure doing this reading. I learned a lot. May you have good fortune and good humor. Bye for now.